Up until they came here, they'd never been on grass. They'd never, been outside in the elements.
An orientation session for a new batch of volunteers at a Cambodian bear sanctuary.
Generally, they've all been confiscated, brought in from the pet trade or also the restaurant trade as well. He was actually found in the back of a restaurant, and now he's the breeding male in Perth Zoo. By looking at that photo, you wouldn't even think he was still alive.
The front paw of this unfortunate sun bear ended up in a bowl of soup. He'll now live out his days in comfort, with a steady stream of volunteers helping see to that.
I'm passionate about wildlife. And he was living in Australia, so it seems like he was pretty close to this place, and it was a nice idea to help the animals.
Having paid to fly out to Cambodia and then paid a fee to cover their room and board, they help out with manual labor, with preparing the animals' food, and with cleaning up the aftermath.
It's definitely going to be an experience. I've never really owned pets before, so that's never cleared up anything's poo before, so that's going to be a big task.
This centre is run by the Australian NGO Free the Bears, in conjunction with the Cambodian Wildlife Department.
We have a nice flow through of volunteers, and it's great for the keepers because it gives them a little bit of extra help during their day. It educates people, it teaches people about what Free the Bears work does.
Peanut butter and jelly.
To try to replicate the experience bears would get foraging in the wild, the volunteers prepare appetizing concoctions of peanut butter and jelly, green beans and dog food to stash around their enclosures.
The only thing that you don't do is put them on the electric fence. I know you're laughing, but it has been done before, That's why I mentioned it. And don't forget to keep your eyes on the ground for snakes, please.
A circuit of sorts has developed where people can go from country to country, virtually anywhere in the world, and find opportunities to volunteer their time to help endangered and threatened animal species.
For instance, people have gone back and forth between the Cambodian Bear Sanctuary and this centre for rehabilitating orangutan in the Malaysian state of Sarawak. Here at the Matang Wildlife Centre, the state's forestry authorities work with a private company called Way Out Experiences to run the rehab and volunteer programs. WOX charges people around $2,500 each for a 1-month volunteering stint. Some 2/3 of that money goes back into rehabilitating the animals, almost all of which were rescued from the pet trade.
The objective is very simple, plain and clear. If at all it is possible, we want these wild animals that are captured, seized or whatever, to be put back in the wild again, in its own original habitat.
The money the volunteers pay covers costs like buying veterinary equipment and building and improving the animals' enclosures, often using their labour as well as their money.
It's my honeymoon.
We both agreed this is what we wanted to do.
Decided to be slightly more interesting, to do something worthwhile.
Instead of lying on a beach for 2 weeks.
And more painful. Clearing these fallen trees exposed the volunteers to ferocious red ants.
We were not only fighting huge branches, but everything that was living in it as well. So we were covered, but you're knowing that what you're doing is helping out and making a difference. And if we came and it was all just fun playing with monkeys, then it wouldn't feel like you're actually achieving anything.
One of the perks is that the volunteers get a lot closer to the animals than any tourists visiting these centres do, but not close enough to touch them.
Young ones like this, for example, need a tutor to actually encourage them to climb up into the trees. We screen all of our staff's blood for infectious diseases each year. We still don't want to run the risk of passing it something very subclinical, like just a common cold for us, could actually potentially be fatal for this one.
The volunteers are warned about the restrictions before they sign up, though some operators may not be as cautious as they are at Matang.
Ethical travel is booming. Its growth is phenomenal. It's almost off the chart. Unfortunately, with this growth, you see unregulated operators doing whatever they want, and quite often that can be, to the detriment of the animal that the very volunteers are coming over to help.
I think they went all the way around.
Biddle suggests people do plenty of research about how their money will be spent before committing to a volunteer eco-trip. Sarawak Forestry, for its part, says it's happy to continue its relationship with WOX and the volunteer program.
It does bring us some contribution in terms of funding, but I think to me more importantly is that the volunteers, when they go back to their own respective areas, or homes or whatever, they will become ambassador of what we are actually doing here.
And some have become much more than just ambassadors for wildlife conservation.
But we've had maybe 400 volunteers in total. 8 of them are now working full-time with animals. Volunteering is actually seen as a real benefit on a CV in a young person. It can help on a CV for a job, for a university application, and it can help people land a career in conservation full-time.
Another potential selling point for a burgeoning industry that some are dubbing eco-voluntourism.